All right. Hello, everybody. It is July 16th. Wow. I'm finally feeling the heat out here too. It's definitely summertime. So anyway, wanted to share something with you guys. Something that happened that wasn't real good. I had PayPal shut out 3 of our business accounts down last week. Yeah, I was like, oh my God. I've heard this from so many people in the past that have said, yeah, our PayPal account got shut down. We can't take payments. And I've even had employees in the Philippines tell me that they needed me to send their payments in other ways. And I'm like, I'm always thinking like, yeah, it sounds kind of shady. PayPal doesn't just shut people down. What did you do? And now I can tell you with no uncertainty, you don't have to do anything. they can come in. There's no regulation to it. I've looked this up. I did a little research, and apparently they've done this to thousands of businesses. They have just for no good reason. And I spent like 3 hours on the phone trying to find out why, what the deal was, what I did, what I can do about it. And the short of it was all the way up the ladder, all the way to the highest person they would let me talk to. They said, there's nothing you can do about it. The decision is final. And the person that reviewed the account and made the decision, you're not allowed to talk to, and neither are we. And I'm like, wow, yeah. And the best part of it all was they decided to grab the $13,000 that I had sitting in there and basically just steal that for 6 months. They're going to hold it for 180 days.
What is this, John?
I was talking about PayPal. Over the years, I've heard horror stories of PayPal closing down business accounts and taking the money and holding the money and all this. And I've even had employees in the Philippines that I've had to pay in different ways because they say their PayPal accounts got shut down. And whenever I heard that, I always thought, yeah, they must have been doing something shady. And now I know they probably weren't because I've had 2 of the accounts of mine that got shut down were 18 years old. These were accounts that I've used for 18 years to accept affiliate payments, pay my people overseas, and sell digital products. Unbelievable. The only thing I've done different is increased my sales year after year after year. That's it. And they came in, they closed all 3 of my accounts and said that I was doing business practices against their terms of service, and they will not tell you what that is. And they were listing stuff off like if you sell guns and ammo. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't apply to me.
Maybe somebody hacked your account and took your identity.
No, nothing like that. I mean, all activity in my accounts have been solid and since day one. And then they said you could be laundering money, and I'm like, this is a 30-year-old company, it's I'm like, so far you haven't given me anything that makes me believe that you actually found something that I've done wrong. And basically they said, well, if you want any information, you have to contact our legal department, and they're probably not going to talk to you without a subpoena. And I'm like, really? Is that how you treat your customers?
John, I have a letter from a lawyer, someone else's lawyer, where apparently you send this to PayPal and they respond pretty quickly. Basically, you threaten them to report them to the and recommend that be regulated as a bank, and that's basically the worst thing they fear.
Oh, I would love a copy of that letter if you could send that to me.
What's the best place to send that to you?
John at internetdominators.com or
okay.
I'll take that any way I can get it, Messenger, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just unbelievable that they would do that. And you're right, there is no regulation, and it's their plot is even more sinister. I started looking back, seeing who they've done this to, and I was thinking there's got to be a class action lawsuit, and I would love to talk to that attorney about it. And what I found out was they have prevented anyone from entering into a class action lawsuit by some recent updates they sent out. They sent out, I don't know if any of you guys are on PayPal, but you've probably gotten notices over the last few months about their policies being updated, and you have to agree to the terms. Well, hidden in the terms, you're agreeing that you will not take them into a class action lawsuit.
Well, yeah, that's an adhesion any lawyer abusive terms that are done as on the auto update that aren't negotiated can be challenged in court. That's how a lot of, they're called adhesion contracts, and that's why how lawyers go after these abusive companies like that. You know, that if it's something that no reasonable person would have agreed to, then legally that can be considered abusive language that can be challenged in court. And that's the reason. I have a feeling the reason they don't have class action lawsuits is lawyers who go after them, they basically open their account right back up because they're afraid of it. But most people will not hire a lawyer.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I just can't believe that. I don't know what their motivation behind it would be. It can't possibly be good in any way, shape, or form for them to be doing that stuff.
Maybe Google doesn't like you, and they, you know, you're doing the SEO. Maybe Google went after you. You know,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they are tied to a lot of different stuff. I see a lot of connections with PayPal now. I opened my US bank statement yesterday, and I see on the bank statement there's a link to connect PayPal to your US bank account. I'm like, why the hell would I do that? Crazy. Oh, well, enough of that. Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to rant on you, but I think you should know. Here's kind of the moral to the story. I don't know if they would have closed my account if it didn't have $13,000 on it. So I can tell you one thing: if I get it opened back up, I won't be leaving any money in it. It'll be immediately transferred out. Won't be put in that position again. But, you know, even worse than that, I don't really care. Them holding the money for 6 months, that I don't really care about. It's the pain in the butt for me to have to go and change all of my affiliates, all the way that, you know, that we pay people and that we take in money on affiliate programs. That's going to be a major job over the next 30 days to go and update all of that stuff. I don't even know what it all is. So that's the bigger problem behind it. It's a serious disruption in business. So anyway, just be careful of that. If you guys connect stuff through things like that, it's probably a good idea to keep an Excel spreadsheet of like all your affiliate programs and all the logins. So if you ever have an issue like that, you're organized and you're not kind of like me sitting here going, oh shit, who do I have to go update? So, but anyway, cool stuff. Any of you guys that are in the BeeKonnected platform, they just started the training today. And I don't know if you guys were on it. It was kind of early. It was 8 Pacific. Jenna did her training, and she comes out of the Ryan Dice camp. Really good training. It's very similar to ACT, but they're missing a few steps. They're basically, and they always have been, the whole internet marketing world, they kind of picked this stuff up from people that were doing it secondhand. The difference between that and ACT is I went right to the beast. I went right into the belly of the beast to get my information. It was like, this came right out of the ad agencies, and they do things a little differently. There's some stuff they do that isn't really trained and talked about. And that's why a lot of the internet marketers haven't really picked up on it. They're passing along information, and it's like, you know, when you pass information, every time it goes down the line, you lose a little piece. So that's kind of what's going on. Great information though. I mean, she did an avatar lesson today, and she really drove home. And I love this part about her training. And she drove it home way harder than I do. And when I saw her do it, I'm like, wow, maybe I should up my game, because it really is true how important that stuff is. She came right out and she was very blatant about it. She said, if you don't get your avatar right, nothing's going to work, just flat out. And she also said, if you get your avatar right and you don't follow through on it, nothing's going to work. And that's so true. And
John, are those recorded?
the BeeKonnected trainings, yes. Yes,
Okay.
they did record them, and they should be in the back office here very soon.
Okay.
But that training, you know, it was really good. And she was really just talking about that one piece today, just the avatar. And Ryan Dice has a lot of, through the digital marketer platform, they have a lot of forms that they're similar to the ACT forms, but they're in a little different languaging, and they're more simplistic. They don't go quite to the depth and level that I do in my workbook, but very, very good stuff for sure. So I would definitely encourage you guys to participate in that. And you know, if that resonates with you more than my videos or whatever, I don't care how you get the information, but you got to get it. whoever can get it through, I'm all for it. Yeah, Teresa?
Did they mention how many people are currently on the BeeKonnected platform?
They didn't, but I can find out. I can ask
That's a question
Scott
that
or
some people are asking, because, and when are they going to roll out the actual ability to connect?
I just talked to Tanya about that yesterday, because I was trying to get somebody in on it. And the qualification right now to have it is you have to be the one of the qualified founding affiliates, which means you have to have at least 5 people in.
Right.
If you've got that, I can get it activated for you right away.
Okay. I'm working hard on it.
Outside of that, it's probably, I would guess, within a week or so.
Really?
Yeah, they're very close. In fact, I was in there this morning and I connected to several of you guys. I don't know if you saw my connection come through to you, but I'm pretty sure I sent one to you, Teresa, this morning, a connection. Yeah. So if you go into your back office and you go into the My Connections tab, you can see if you can see it. I think you probably should be able to, though.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, because I can see you in there, and I can see your profile. I can connect to you.
And you can see everybody in your downline, yes?
Yes, which is really cool. And I don't know if
People
everybody,
tell me they're signing up, and then.
yeah, I think as far as I know, everybody gets that access. Like, I can show you guys if you want to see what it looks like. Let's see. Let me share my screen.
John, I had a few people come on Monday, but they still haven't signed up, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you go under the My Profile, or actually it's the My Account, and you go into your iWallet, I believe, oh, no, that's not where it is. It's under the My Team tab. So if you click on the My Team tab, you'll see all the people that signed up under you directly. And then if you hit expand, this shows your entire network.
Oh.
Wow.
So that shows like the different layers and levels down below you.
Like that.
So that's where you get it, and you should have access to that. And anybody that's refunded, they're going to be in red. They got in and pulled out. But all the greens you get paid on. And then if you want to close it up, you can do close all. So these are just my direct signups that signed up directly under me. And then if you go to the My Account, the iWallet, you can see how much you've got. And you can actually see the transactions here. So it's pretty cool. But if you go under the connection generator, here you'll see, and there's a lot of people that don't have their profiles in here yet. So if you guys are members, you want to make sure that you get your profiles set up. So when this thing does go live, they're not just looking at this little icon piece here. And then that's the connection generator. Every time you hit it, it's going to give you new connections based on your profile versus theirs, and these are recommendations to connect with these people. So to connect, you just hit the connect button, or if you want to view their profile, you can take a look and you can see, you know, who they are, what they do. There's the who I am, here's the what I do, and then they've got their portfolio. So this one's good. She's got videos, she's got images. That's what you want. You want to fully complete your profile in here. And what I would do if I were you, and this goes for any social media platform, whether it's BeeKonnected or LinkedIn or Facebook, whatever, when you create your profile in there, don't make it so much about who am I, make it about what I can do for you. It should be an advertisement, and it should have calls to action in it. It shouldn't be just like, oh yeah, here's who I am, so what? If somebody can say so what about anything, that's problematic for your marketing. You want to you tell them what to do. You know, tell them that here's what I've got, here's what it's going to do for you, and here's what I want you to do next. Always be leading them. Always lead them to the next thing. And then under so that's the connection generator. And you see every time you click on it, it gives you new connections to connect to. But if you wanted to search, like let's say you wanted to search by a category or by state, city, or you can even do a custom search here based on careers, hobbies, behavioral styles. You could look for, let's say you're looking for an accountant. You could pick that, and then it would recommend accountants. If in your profile you have selected that you like to meet people in person, then it's going to look for people that are close to you. If you put Zoom and you do business internationally, then it doesn't matter. It's going to bring people from anywhere, the closest match. So that's kind of how it works. It's really a cool deal. And once this thing gets up and gets a gazillion people in here, it's going to be a really great platform. And the best part about it is once people connect to you, you go under the My Connections tab, and these are people that I'm actually connected with now. I can decide to disconnect if I want. I can view their profile, or I can rate them. So when you click on the rating, this is where you can see like I rated Scott. I gave him a 5-star rating, and you can see how people are interacting with everybody. So if you go in and you look at somebody's profile and they've got 1-star reviews and they say, this guy's just spam, he's just trying to sell me stuff, you know, hey, I don't want to connect with that person. I don't want that person, you know, sending me messages and doing all this stuff. That is one of the real beauties of this platform, is the rating thing. The members actually get to rate each other. So this prevents, or it's going to prevent, all the garbage spam connections that are on all the other platforms. I love the idea of LinkedIn, but every time I get into LinkedIn, I've got 40 or 50 messages from spammers, and I know there's good messages in there, but I'm just not going to go through them all to find them. It's like a needle in a haystack. So LinkedIn to me is, you know, it's a great idea, but it's worthless. I'm just not going to work that hard. So that was why I was, I was really excited about this. I hope this thing really takes hold and gives LinkedIn a run for their money. That's going to be a really exciting deal. So anyway, that's how you've got the My Konnection tab. Again, those are people that are connected to you. And then you've got the connection generator. That's where you can go out and reach out and connect to them. And then you've got the My Team tab that shows you your sponsor and all the people that you've personally brought in. You got the websites. You get 2 affiliate websites in here when you join. You get the one for you, and then you get, this is their actual website, and this is the order page. So if you've talked to somebody and you don't want them to go through the looking at the website, you just want to sign them up, you can just click that, and that's just an order page. So anyway, that's any specific questions about it, or anything you want me to show you in more detail?
Oh, that's great.
The events calendar, they have a ton of events in here. These are all meetings that you could join. And the Monday 12 o'clock ones, it's 10 Pacific, but those are mine. Those are me presenting on the platform. And then let's see, like today, what's today? This one here, the 30-day digital marketing kickstart, that was Jenna's training. She was doing the avatar training, and it was really good. And like I said, she really hammered home that if you don't get your avatar right, nothing is going to work in your marketing. And if you don't narrow it down to a single avatar and a single product match, same thing. And that's what I've been saying for years with the ACT program, is if you have a disconnect in the A, the C, or the T, you're going to have problems. You're going to struggle, and you're probably going to fail. And that, I just loved hearing her just hammer that home today. That was awesome. And then I just got off of this call to hop on to our call here, was the Facebook Mastery class. And wow, I don't spend a lot of time in Facebook, but that was a really good training on Facebook. It was an introduction training, but it talked a lot about creating custom audiences and how to really build out your back end Facebook channel. Facebook has a lot under the hood. There's a lot of marketing opportunity inside Facebook if you know how to get to it. It's not what you guys think. Everybody I've talked to that is doing what they call social media advertising, all they're doing is they're playing. They're playing in the personal playground of Facebook. They're not in the business end of things. To get into the business end of things, you have to have a Facebook, they call it many things. It's a fan page, a business page, whatever. That's really the business end of Facebook is in there. And that Facebook fan page or business page, whatever you want to call it, it is basically, it's a personal website that's hosted on Facebook. Facebook prioritizes that, but there's particular things that they want to see happen in the activity with that page. So they promote it and they push it out and they allow people to see it. So it's a whole different animal how you should be working in Facebook. It's not about posting on your Facebook, your Facebook wall. It's all your wall does is talk to your friends. And that's social media, but it's social media to your little box of friends. Your little box of friends is probably already bought from you. And, the best thing that you could possibly do if you're going to operate in that end of the scope of things is to put messages out there to your friends with the purpose of them sharing it and having them share it and have it go viral. But the message again has to be right. It's not just, hey, look at the cool stuff my cat's doing, or, You know, check out how, you know, my dog, you guys see me post in there the flowers and stuff in my yard. I'm not doing that for business purposes. I'm doing that so my friends see what's going on. You know, I'm not doing that for business. That's purely pleasure. That gets me no money. And it's not meant to. I'm not looking for money out of that. I'm showing my friends, look at this cool flower. Isn't this thing awesome? But I see people over and over, they're doing that and they're expecting money to come from it. And it's not. That's personal social versus business social. There's a very big gap there. And most people are not getting it. They think they're doing social marketing, but they're not. They're doing social family time and expecting money to come from it. If you're, and again, you've got to have those three things in place. You've got to have the messaging, you got to have the messaging to the right market. If the market is your friends and you got a business message, you have a serious disconnect there. Like, you know, I don't typically do much of anything commercial on my fan or on my personal Facebook page. Every once in a while I'll say, hey guys, I'm doing this, you know, whatever, but I get very little engagement from it because it's my friends and family for the most part. But now when I go into other groups, like I belong to groups inside Facebook, and I'll go ahead and stop the share there. But I belong to groups, business groups inside Facebook, like I belong to Craig's Mastermind. When I'm posting in there, although I have posted flowers in there too, but generally, if I'm going to post in there and it's business minded, I'll give them a link to something that's important to them. Or I'll go in and I tell everybody in the group too. I said, hey, if you guys want me, if you want my assistance, just tag me in the messages, because I'm not in here for fun. I'm not in here browsing all the posts looking for fun. It's not how I get entertained. I tell everybody in there, if you want my assistance, post, you know, tag me in the post. I'll get notified of it. I'll look at what you're asking and I'll help you. No problem. And I've always done that. I've done it very quickly, very quick response to the people that reach out to me inside of Craig's Mastermind group. But I'm not in there reading all the posts. It's like, no, thank you. there's just too much stuff to consume. But inside other groups, I'll operate inside groups that are very specific to one of my target markets. And if I'm in there and I see a thread going on and I can contribute, I'll always contribute. If I contribute, I always put a hook in there. I'll seed it with a piece of cheese. So that's, and it's been, you know, fairly successful in doing that. But again, it's all, business is all about strategy. And if you're just, you know, if you don't have a strategy, then it's personal time. And don't expect money to fall from the sky in your personal time. Generally doesn't work that way. I mean, not to say that it's never happened, but as a general rule, it's not the best strategy. So anyway, it all boils back, you know, every time I talk to somebody that is having difficulty with something, they're struggling with it, and it always boils down to one of the three buckets. It's either you haven't defined who it is, or you haven't defined what they want, and then your messaging, your marketing, and the products you're trying to connect them with are a disconnect. So it's either the market, the message, and when I say message, that's creation, that's your products included. If your product can be great. If it's not for the right market, it's a disconnect. So it's about all three. You have to have all three in harmony for marketing and sales to work. There really isn't another way around it. I have tried. I can't say I haven't tried to figure it out or find anomalies, but every time it always comes back to that. People don't buy stuff that they don't want. It's not about need, it's about want. People need stuff, but they'll only buy it if they want it. You know, seriously, how many people need stuff? You can see a dude with old nasty green teeth and he needs some crust, seriously, but he doesn't want it. He doesn't care. So how effective are you going to be at trying to sell him the best toothpaste in the world? You're not. He doesn't want it. You gotta figure out what they want, not what you think they need. Because ultimately, the person that's going to trade dollars for the thing, it's got to be a win for them. It's got to be a win-win. If they don't want it, there's no way you can win there. You can convince them, you can twist their arm, you can use all kind of, unethical tactics to do it, which, I see that going on too. But that's not the way to do things. You don't want to come off like a used car salesman. When you describe your product, if you do it right, remember the 4 things, the 4 pieces to effective marketing. You grab their attention. The only way you can grab their attention is by talking about something they want, something that's important to them. The next thing is you got to create demand and desire. You have to create demand and desire. The only way that you're going to do that is with promises of the desired outcome of what they want. See why it's so important to figure out what they want? When you figure out who it is and what they want, you're never going to do better than that. If you spend 90% of your time in your marketing campaign just doing that, the rest of it's going to work. If you don't, it's all that work on the other end is going to go right down the tubes. So figuring out what they want is really, really a key thing. So to create that demand and desire, again, it's promises of the desired outcome. When they want something, it's also, for me, I like to know why they want it so I can go to a little deeper level. Like for instance, when I talk to business owners, I'm like, okay, what are you trying to accomplish out of this? When they come to me, let's say they want a website, they want a marketing funnel, they want SEO, whatever it is. My first thing is, what's your expectation? What would you like out of this relationship? And, they might tell me, I want $1 million. I want $1 million a year business. And I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of a superficial answer. That's not really what they want. That might buy them what they want. So I want to get to the bottom of what it is that they really want, because that's the important thing. I don't want the superficial stuff on the top. I want what's under the hood. I want to know, why does this guy want $1 million? What is that going to do for him? Is that going to set him free so he cannot worry about ever having to go back to a job? Is that going to make it to where he can really support his family and give them the life that they deserve in his eyes? What is it about that $1 million that makes him want it? And if I get that, now I can really go to work. Now I can have a conversation that will create demand and desire like none other. And if you can create the demand and desire for someone like that, there's nothing going to prevent them from buying your product. If they truly see that you have not only the promise of what they want, but you have a unique delivery mechanism that will actually deliver that result for them, they're going to buy. That's all there is to it. If you don't do those things, like if you do that stuff on the front end, the final piece, the final 2 pieces of that puzzle, after you grab their attention and create their demand and desire, You have to eliminate their objections and make an offer. If you spend your time in those first couple of pieces, creating enough demand and desire, that will overcome the objections. And you can have the worst offer on the planet. Nothing's going to keep them from buying it. I mean, the offer on the end, if you do the front end of your marketing campaign correctly, you can literally, like Eric Laughlin, any of you that follow Eric, he talks about his irresistible offer. And if you look, he's got a thing called the Sales Mountain. And in the Sales Mountain, most of the work is done on the front end of the mountain. When he gets them to the point of where he believes they're ready for the close, he calls it the close. The close is really the offer. That's what are you going to say, or how are you going to ask for the order and take the money? That's really the offer on the end. It's like, okay, let's sum it up. Here's the thing that I'm offering you. Here's the price. Would you, and Eric, he makes it really simple. I love his close. He says only this. When he gets them to the point, he feels that they're ready, he feels the objections are eliminated, and there's nothing to prevent the sale, this is his close. He says, would you like to move forward with that? That's it. He says, would you like to move forward with that? And then he zips it. He doesn't say another word. He lets the mental process go to work to answer the question. It's like whoever speaks first in this game is going to lose. If you, and it's very uncomfortable. If you do this in person, it's very uncomfortable when you ask for the order and they don't say anything. You literally crawl out of your skin wanting to speak, and you shouldn't. And he really hammers this home. He said there's a process going on in their head. They're going back over all the details. They're working. There's gears grinding to come up with the answer that you just asked them, that simple question. You ask them in a way that it's a yes or a no. So their process is looking at all the things. It's weighing the value and the cost. It's weighing, is there any remaining objections? Is there any reason I don't want to do this? All that's going on. And it might be really quick. It might be they might just say yes or no right out of the gate. They've already thought it through and the answer is already on their tongue. But if it's not, that process has to take place. So after you ask would you like to move forward with that, you've got to let that process take place. If you speak before it's done, you literally take the biggest wrench you can carry and you throw it right into the gears and you break the machine. And now you're going to start all over. So that being silent piece is really important. And again, this is not online marketing. This is marketing in the real world, face to face. If you're a salesperson, that's the process. So,
John, that's when the car salesman goes and says, I'll go get my coffee and come.
yeah, exactly.
He walks off.
Exactly. It's, I've always said, whatever happens in the real world, that works. If it works in the real world, you've got to look at it as a real sales process. That's what we want to define, and that's what we want to create in the digital space. So that's why a lot of times, once a sale is presented in a webinar, you go into a Q&A. You don't say, you release the buy button for the ones that are already ready to go. They've already got it on their tongue. Yes, I want this. Where do I get it? How do I get in? So you release the hounds, but then what you do, you go into Q&A, because now what you're in Eric Laughlin's process, he says, if they say yes, you don't go into more detail. You say, great, let's do the paperwork. Here's the process. Let me walk you through it. This is something that I've learned, and this is just human nature. People love processes and they love to be led. If you have a process and you're in control and you're leading them through the process, they can relax. They can feel comfortable that it's handled, that you know what you're doing, and that they're in good hands. So that's really important to know. Like you never act as though you're iffy about the next step. You always very confidently say, okay, great. Here's the first step. Here's what we do now. Let me help you with that. This is what I do. Let me help you with that. So you just take them through the process. Now, on the other hand, what if they say no? What if you ask the question, you ask for the order, and they say no? No. What? And they can say it however. They can just say no. They can say, I don't think so. They can say, I'm not ready yet. It doesn't matter what they say, it's a no. You're not writing an order right now. You're not taking money. So in Eric's, in his process, this is really important. And this is something that I'll show you how I've digitized in my marketing campaigns. Okay, so they say no. So his response to the no is really simple. It's, oh, and it's with a little bit of shock. He says, oh, really? What's holding you back? As concern, like both of us know this is good for you. Now you're concerned about, oh my God, what's holding you back? And that's it. And again, he zips it. He lets them answer. Because what's going to happen now is they're going to give you the superficial answer that is their first objection. And it's generally not the real objection. So when they say it, again, you don't interrupt them. You let them talk. You let them in their own words, and you be very, very observant. You take in their language. You listen to them. Okay, so you got the first objection out on the floor. Now, before you try and address that objection, you want to know if there's another one behind it, and usually there is. So what he'll say next is he just says it like this. He says, oh, okay, I get it. I understand, with a little bit of, sympathizing. He says, other than that, is there anything else that would be holding you back? And generally, the second one will be more close to the real objection. And again, same process. After you say it, you zip it, you let them speak, you listen intently because you're looking for their languaging. And once the second objection is out on the floor, you just repeat the process. You say, oh, okay, I understand that. Other than those two things, if those two things weren't an issue, would you be ready to move forward then, or is there anything else? And what you're trying to do, you're trying to get it all out. You're trying to get everything out on the table so you can take a step back and you're back into the objection handling. So you're going to go back, and generally when somebody says no and they have an objection, remember in the ACT program, every objection is based on a belief. So now we just listened to their belief system. Now we have a clear understanding of what they believe. And what do we do to reverse a belief? We use Benjamin Franklin's formula that works every time. It will reverse any belief on the planet. So understanding what the objection is, it's all based on a belief. So we address those now. We readdress their objections. And you do that with a claim proof benefit statement. And I know you guys have heard this a million times from me, but I'll say it again because it's so important. The claim is contrary to the belief. Like if they believe that they can't do it, if that's their belief, your claim has to be contrary to that. So your claim is you can do it. If they've said that they just don't think they can do it, your claim's easy. You can do it. That's the claim. Now, the claim by itself is irrelevant. It means nothing to them. They don't believe it. They still don't believe it. So now you got to back it up with 2 proof points. How are you going to prove that you're right? How are you going to prove that they can do it? And then once you've done that, once you've done that, and again, proof does not come out of you saying something. Proof has to come out from a true proof point. It's got to be third-party data. It's got to be experiential. You might be able to tap into their experience in life to show them that they can do it. You might do that by having them think of a time in their life when, when they did something else and you just relate it. It's just like that. You didn't think you could do that either, right? Like when you got thrown into the swimming pool and you didn't know how to swim and you didn't believe you could swim, but then all of a sudden you made it to the other side of the pool and life was great. So that's an experiential proof point that you pulled right out of their body, right out of their life. Those proof points are everywhere. You have to get creative on how to find them and how to connect the dots to reverse those beliefs. Sometimes you'll find proof points that are third-party data out of credible sources. Like for business, we're all in the business world here. So there's things like people look up to and people respect certain media outlets like Forbes magazine or Fortune 500 stuff. And if you can find proof in those, like printed proof, those are great proof points. I did this I spoke at a dental conference in Colorado one time. And one of the things were the dentists were in the room because they were scared. They all knew they were suffering in business because of the economy. And they all truly believed that they were not going to make it. So my proof point, my proof point to this was I pulled it right out of their publication. I went to the American Dental Association and got their publications. And they had done studies that said, I forget the numbers, but it was like 75% of dentists are going to go out of business this year. And the other 25% are going to thrive. And I showed that to them. I made the claim that of all the people in the room, I said 75% of you are not going to survive, but we can change those numbers. And I'll show you how. Because in the same article, it shows what the 25% that are thriving, they did a simple shift. And guess what? It had a whole lot to do with the ACT program. And it had a whole lot to do with shifting how they were connecting their messaging to their customers. And it was in the world that I played in the traffic space. Their customers, there was no less people that needed root canals, right? Their problem wasn't the customer base disappeared. Their problem wasn't the economy that everyone was blaming it on. People still, if your tooth hurts, it doesn't matter. You're going to come up with the money to fix it, right? Those weren't the problems. They had been brainwashed to what the problems were, and they believed that they had no hope. So by me just showing them the logic behind it, I gave them hope. I reversed their belief. And guess what? There was nothing that would stop them from wanting to work with me at that point. So taking their publication, just showing them what it meant, it didn't mean that they were dead. It meant that 75% of them were going to be dead if they didn't listen and change their ways. And then I rolled out the red carpet and I said, here's the way of the 25%. Would you like my help with that? What do you think their answer was? It was the highest conversion ratio I've ever seen out of a room. It was crazy. So again, addressing those objections, you've got to be able to understand what the belief is, and you've got to build your claim proof benefit statements. After you've made the claim and you've showed them the proof, you've reversed the belief. Now they have a new belief. Now their belief is not against you, it's in favor of you. So again, we've just taken that and we've dumped it over in the bucket of creating demand and desire. So we want to eliminate the third bucket, and we want to take all of that and we want to pour it into the second bucket, which is the first bucket is grab their attention. The second bucket is create demand and desire. The third bucket is eliminate the objections. We want that bucket to disappear. We want all those objections gone, dumped into the second bucket of creating demand and desire. And then we want to make the offer. And if you do the first three right, the third or the fourth one, you can make the most horrible offer on earth and you will still sell the hell out of it. I mean, you could flat out say, hey, I'm not a salesperson. This is what I've got. Here's how much it costs. Would you like to move forward with that? Using Eric's close, his classic close. Would you like to move forward with that? That's all it takes. That could be your sales process for a close right there. Could be just that simple. And if you've done the other three things right, it's going to work. You don't have to have a really good, spectacular offer, you know, with all the bells and whistles to get that to work if you've done the other three. So the final piece to that, the claim proof benefit statement, once you've reversed the belief and it's in your favor, now you come back around and you reattach it to the benefit. It's claim proof benefit. You reattach it to the benefit that is in alignment with their desired outcome on their timeline of this avatar, and you just locked it in. I mean, it's a done deal now. When you take that, and what they're seeing is they're seeing what I am offered here is going to get me what I want. Remember, it's all about what they want, not what they need. It's really hard to sell somebody something they need if they don't want it. So that's where the timeline piece of the ACT program is so important. Looking at this avatar of where they are and where they want to be and why they want to be there, that tells you why they want it. So it's and I'm telling you, it's been used in ad agencies for over 100 years. They haven't changed the process because it works. And I've never seen it not work. If it doesn't work, you're talking to the wrong person. You've nailed the avatar, but you're not talking to that avatar. If you bring the right messaging to the right person and give them the right offer, you're going to get the right outcome. There's just no other way around it. You know, it's never 100%. Nothing's ever 100%, but the percentages are going to be pretty good. And when it comes to driving traffic to that, that's where traffic can be really expensive if you don't get those two right. If you don't have the front end right, if you don't have the market dialed in and the messaging dialed in, and you go into traffic, it's just going to be really expensive. And you're going to get really frustrated. And again, just like what Jenna said in her training this morning, it's not going to work if you don't have those pieces right. So, and I would really encourage you guys to use this forum in this time. Like, you should be working on your marketing campaigns and bringing them on here and letting us take a look at them and make recommendations and see where the holes are for you. You know, see what you're missing, because this call, I know today I've done the majority of the talking here, but this call really is for you guys, and you can interrupt me anytime you want. If there's something you want to know, that's more important to me than me just talking and talking and talking. I mean, I try and keep things on a track that I think is going to help you. I know I went a little awry on the PayPal thing, but I'm still a little hot under the collar about that one. So, but anyway, that's what this whole thing is for. This ongoing call, it is for support and mentorship of you guys creating your marketing campaigns. You know, if you haven't gone through the videos in the ACT program and you haven't gone through the fast track 2-day overview of the whole process, it is so worth your time. I can't tell you how valuable that is to really understand this process. You know, I know you've got other stuff going on. I know the day-to-day stuff in your business is important to you. I get it. But to carve out enough time to really get your head wrapped around this skill set, it will change your business. I guarantee it. It will change everything for you. So, I mean, there's no way around it. Here's what happens with us. We get busy. We're doing our day-to-day thing, and we are busy. We look busy. We appear busy. Our time is gone, and we're doing stuff, but we're not moving forward. We're just busy. We're not bringing in new customers like we need to. We're not selling the customers that we have more down through our profit ladder. We're not doing that stuff. And the thing is, if you focus on that, if you carve out just a little bit of time to do those things, and you spend that time on those things and automating the process, now you've got a machine that will do that work for you. And then at that point, you'll still be busy, but now you're bringing in money, and now you can truly afford to replace yourself. You guys, if you ever heard the thing that you should be spending your time in your business at the maximum best use of that time. Your physical involvement in your business should be the best and highest use of that time. And it's usually not all that little piddly, mundane stuff that makes us look busy all day long, and we don't make any sales because of it. That's not the best use of our time. And I get that it's hard when you're scaling up and you're a solopreneur and you're by yourself. I get it. You know, I've been there. I've done that. And it's hard to make that jump where you actually bring in enough to hire someone to replace you and not have to do that stuff anymore. I get it. But the only way that's going to happen is if you carve out enough time to really build the skill set. Because marketing is where that is going to happen. It's the fastest way for you to scale up your business and bring in new prospects, turn them into new customers, and put income into your business. That's the only way you're going to scale and grow. And if you think you're busy now and you're too busy to do that, I can guarantee you what's going to happen. Your life is going to be like Groundhog Day. You're going to wake up every morning and you're going to be busy, and you're not going to bring in new customers, and it's going to be day after day after day. And eventually you're going to hit a point where you're older, you're tireder, you're you're busier, and it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse. So again, I don't want to paint such a unrosy picture there, but I'm stressing the importance of learning marketing. You know, I know you guys don't want to do it. It's the last thing. It's like giving ourselves a root canal. But here's the thing. You got to do this. You know, even if you don't want to do it and you want to hire out for it to get it done, you've got to understand the game. You've got to know that somebody's going to do this for you and they're going to do it right. You've got to guide the process. they're not going to do this as good as you can do it. They're not going to understand your customers like you understand your customers. They're just not. So the better you get at it, the better that you can direct someone else if you want someone else to do this stuff for you. Like, I see people all the time, they know their customers, they know their messaging, but they're scared to death of tech. They don't want to enter the tech space. Putting a funnel together is a frightening thought. There are people that can put the funnels together for you. That's the easy part. That's the part where they're a dime a dozen. Don't worry about tech ever. There's people that can take that off your plate for a very low amount of money. The big money here is in the master strategy. It's in the marketing, it's in the messaging, it's in the identifying who you're selling to and what they want and how you're going to convey that messaging. Once that's done, it's a matter of just copy and paste. The funnel is just a bunch of pieces of, anybody can do that for you. So if you're having trouble with that, just let me know. I'll connect you with somebody that can do that for you. But don't expect them to figure out your messaging. People that build funnels, people that build websites, they're not marketers necessarily unless you find one that is. They're very few and far between. And generally, if you find one that really knows their stuff and they're going to do everything for you, they're probably not even the one that's going to do the nuts and bolts. They're going to spend their time on the highest and best use of their time, which is creating your messaging, and then they're going to have their team do the rest. But they're probably going to be fairly expensive too. That is a very valuable skill set, is the whole marketing piece of that. So anyway, hopefully that has not just like blown the wind out of your sails. I was hoping to inspire you all and not like take you down to doom and gloom, but it kind of feels like that to me. So
John, for those of us on PayPal subscriptions, are we going to need to put in a credit card or reauthorize or something like that?
yeah, I'll send an email out for you guys, and with a link where you can just re-sign back up with a credit card. Because I should know next week if they're going to reenact my PayPal account. And if you can send me that letter, I have the address of their legal department. I'll send that over to them.
So I emailed it over during the webinar. So just make sure you have it, because a lot of my stuff bounces these days. So yeah, should be titled PayPal letter. So
awesome. I appreciate that. And yep, I got it here. Thank you.
John, I'd love to have that letter too, if you could share it somehow.
Okay. Yeah. Chris, do you mind if I post that in the members area?
I'm okay with it. I got it from someone else's package, so I don't know if they would be happy with it, is the only thing. So, but I'm perfectly okay, but I did get that from somewhere else. So I bought that. It came as part of a package I bought several years ago. I don't know if they'd be comfortable with you putting it up, or maybe you probably couldn't hurt to paraphrase, or, it's basically I could read it online here if you wanted, actually, if people want to get the gist.
Maybe what I'll do is I'll just rewrite it based on, I'll just put it in my own wording, and then I'll put it up for everybody. So that's really cool. All right, you guys, do you have any kind of last minute questions here before we wrap up for today?
I have one.
Yeah, sure.
I have kind of a rollout question. So initial offer for maybe $197, $297 to get people introduced to the process, but the meat of the program is really a 21-day thing to help people transform, to do the exercises and practices. So one thought is to do the weekend thing, charge a couple $100, and then invite them into my membership group, which is about $30 a month, similar to yours. Get me four times a month. And my thought is to, if they buy that for 6 months in advance, I give them the 21 days.
Oh, okay.
Or should I open with the 21-day thing, because that's the real big product transformation thing? Should I give them that right away, or tease them in with a weekend and then invite them.
You are better off with a smaller offer up front if you can, but this is something for everybody. You should never really be worried about your price if you've created the value for it already. So in the marketing, if you've built up enough value, you can go right into a higher priced item. Like when I sell the ACT program, for instance, I will sell it, right out of the gate at $497. But it's after an hour webinar where I've built up massive value for why somebody would want it. But you can do like a smaller thing if, especially for a long-term relationship, it's good you'll get more people in at the lower amount, and then it gives you more opportunity. It builds your mailing list faster. And in fact, if you could put a free offer in front of that, give them a free offer that gives them something of high value that allows them to take a first step, and then you couple that free offer in conjunction with a webinar of, hey, let me get you on this webinar and show you how to use this free thing that I just gave you. And on that webinar, you build the value of the next thing. So the first transaction there was $0. You were offering something in exchange for an email address, a contact person. So, and then the next offer is going to be your 197, and then your next offer. So you're staging them through. So that's a good process of free thing to a webinar to sell the low dollar thing to get them into the next process of fulfillment that sells the next higher dollar thing. I just kind of went backwards on it. I sold the higher dollar thing, and the fulfillment was the low dollar thing, the $30 a month thing. So I just kind of, reversed the two. And when I did it, I didn't really know what I was doing, and it actually worked. It's worked for all these years. So I just stick with it. Anything that's working, I tend to not want to change it.
Can you say what you just did again, John? I'm sorry. A lawnmower it's just got loud in my.
Okay, yeah. So what you do is a free thing like a PDF or something of high value to allow them to take a first step. And then you give them an unadvertised bonus once they get it of, hey, now that you have this, let me explain it to you. I have a free webinar. I'd like to invite you to it so you can get the most out of it and make sure, you can put all your proof points in there and all of that. Get them onto the webinar, and the webinar allows you to explain the value of the next thing, which is typically a low dollar item. It's an intro sale. And then in the intro sale and the delivery of that and the fulfillment of that low dollar sale, now you've created value for the next step. It's like in a timeline. When you take somebody to the end of their timeline, then the next timeline starts. So you can always figure out what to sell them next based on where you took them from where they were to where they are. It's very easy now to forecast what they're going to want next. Like if I take somebody from a struggling business owner to $1 million a year, I know now they're going to want to travel. So I can hook them up with travel. It's a pretty easy thing to predict of what they're going to want next. They might want, and a lot of times they'll want what you have. If they're following you, they want what you have. So whatever you're doing in your personal life, if you create affiliate programs around that stuff, you can make additional sales without selling them stuff. You're just showing them how to get what you have. That's a really super slick way to make what everybody calls mailbox money. So that's a cool way to do it.
Thank you. So we're working with Tammy to develop Woody's campaign, and going very well. She's wonderful. And I'm wondering there's a disconnect for me, just for me. And we haven't come to this moment yet, but I just thought I'd ask. As you know, Woody's invested in 2 cable TV ads, and what I don't understand is how do we write the copy for the ads? We're developing the avatars, and we've got 2 avatars because we have 2 ads.
Mhm.
I don't know how to get the TV people to what the right call to action is for them. Like how do we get somebody watching a cable 30-second spot to respond really?
Here is a perfect example of why you're struggling with that. You've jumped into the traffic part, before you got the first 2 right. That's really what you're struggling with. You don't have the messaging down yet. You're trying to force traffic through an unknown message. So when they say, what are we advertising? You don't have the messaging figured out. That's where your struggle is. That's why Tammy keeps rolling back to the avatar of who are we talking to? What do they want? So we can create that messaging so you know what to put in your ad when you send it out to all these people.
Okay,
Well, one of the things, John, is during the process, you wake up to, new possibilities, new directions. I mean, if you're, I could say it like this: we are on the vibe of what an avatar would look like.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to, create all this content, but you're right, the rudder is missing.
Yeah, and this is
that you're lost.
Yeah, and this is really representative of entrepreneurs. Everybody thinks an entrepreneur and a businessman are the same. The shell might look the same, but the inner workings are not the same. An entrepreneur and a businessman make a good marriage, but individually they often struggle. Because the thing with an entrepreneur is, you're right, they wake up every morning with new ideas, but they never fulfill on any of them for the most part. That is very common. Entrepreneurs will go from one thing to the next, and they always look great, they always sound great, but ultimately they generally don't make a lot of money because they don't have the business end connected. The business guy, he's got all the systems in place. He's got the methodology. He's got the strategy. He's got the focus to follow something through and make a tremendous amount of money with it, but he doesn't have the ideas. He's not creative. He's missing that piece. So it's difficult to find someone that has both of those. I mean, that's one of the gifts that I have, is I have a very strong business background, and I'm fairly creative on the entrepreneurial side. But a lot of people don't have those 2 mixed. It's like their left brain, their right brain, they're not down the middle. And I think I can attribute that to my parents. My dad was the business mind, and my mother was the artist. She was very creative. So I got exposed to both sides of the sphere and had a lot of influence from both sides. And a lot of people don't have that. So
with a lot of love and positive affirmation as you were going through those milestones of growing.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So that puts me in a unique position because I understand both sides. I understand the entrepreneur. I understand how they think. I also understand the businessman and how he thinks. So it makes me a really good translator. I can walk the ropes in between and get things on track. So, or at least I do my best to, anyway. sometimes I don't always make the grade, but I give it a shot. So, all right, guys. Well,
John, I'm sorry. In terms of circling back to BeeKonnected and how to help people, or at least get them on a call, encouraging them to get on the call, so that I'm having a hard time. I don't know how to explain it so that they just don't say no, or they say, well, what is it? Oh, I've heard of that. My friend's pushing me to do that. And then they'll say, oh, a different friend's been pushing me to do that for months, or I don't know what to do, how to effectively get people. And as far as I know you do Mondays at 10, and I can rarely be on a Monday 10 o'clock call. I have a conflict with Dr. Allison because I'm literally connecting with her at that time. So, and then I asked,
those are all recorded too, if you want to send it out to different people. But I got to tell you, those calls, it is a presentation that I'm doing. It's a beginning to end presentation. If you've got groups of people that, you know, are your group and you want me to talk to them directly, I can do that. That's no problem. Without the full company presentation, because that turns a lot of people off. A lot of people just have, you know, a handful of questions and they need a different type of approach. And I'm happy to do that for any of you guys.
So that's amazing. How do we farm? Can we go to our Facebook and invite 30 people on Messenger at a time, or what?
Sure, you can do that, but again, you got to make sure they're the right people and it's the right message for them. Otherwise, it's gonna fail. It'll just kind of make you look like, you know, like somebody that's disingenuous.
Yeah,
but you don't want that.
How do we connect? If, like, I have a few people in mind that I would love for you to talk to, how can I get hold of you to get, like, I have their numbers, but should I do a 3-way text to create the connection? Well,
probably the best thing is to organize it to where we can do a call with everybody. We'll just do a Zoom call. That's convenient for your time and your people's time. We can do that.
All right. So how would I make the arrangement with you? Like, find out what time?
Like, well, you just email me and, you know, we'll pick a time and we'll go to it.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, John.
Absolutely.
And you think they're gonna, so if we don't get 5 people before they launch, that's it? I don't understand.
Well, there's the qualified founding affiliate, and they're going to allow 500 of those. It doesn't really mean that if you don't get into that group, there's just a few extra benefits with that group, but you'd still be able to be the affiliate for them and make, you know, a bunch of money on all the people that come in through your affiliate network.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, John, sometimes at those calls, the one, because they talk a lot about, it kind of seems so long. I think people get a little, just short and clear, it would be nice.
Yeah, I'm going to actually ask them if they mind if I do my own presentation, and maybe I'll create a PowerPoint and get them to, you know, authorize it, because I really don't like their presentation. It's not my style. It's, you know, I do it because that's what they want me to do. They want me to stick to their presentation, but it's definitely not my style of presenting. That's for sure. So,
yeah. You know, we could hear it last week on the 10 o'clock call. I said, I hear John, but it's not like John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think your own approach definitely makes sense, John.
Yeah, you know, they're bringing me in for a different voice and all that. So I'm going to tell them, you know, if you want that, you should probably cut this wild horse loose.
I agree. You have a way of saying things that's clear and succinct and genuine, and I don't like a long hour presentation, because I'm telling people kind of vague fragments of what we talked about a month ago when you first shared it with us. And I'm just basically saying my good friend John turned me on to this thing that they're taking LinkedIn on, and they have great benefits right now to being in the pre-launch. And that's what I'm saying.
Here's how, like, here's a benefit. Here's why somebody would want it. They're all familiar with LinkedIn, right? They're all familiar with how overwhelming LinkedIn is because of all the garbage connections that come through. And this new platform, it's a social media business platform that makes the connections that you need for you. It's like having someone that knows you and can make the right business referrals for you. That's what the connection generator is. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, I love that. Because we all love word of mouth advertising. We all love referrals. And that's what the connection generator is. It's going to be at work for you 24/7 to find you the right referrals and put you in front of the right people so you can make the right connections, not just a bunch of spammers wasting your time. You know, that's how I would describe it. That's not how their presentation describes it.
Exactly. All right, so I'm going to try to get a few people on a phone Zoom with you because I would like to be there also. You know what I mean? Instead of not being like, oh, here, no show, you know.
Yeah, and then as far as like the other big benefit of it is the Zoom webinar. You know, getting Zoom webinar, that 500 enterprise edition for $12.99. That's a no-brainer in itself. And the way I describe that is I just talk to people about, you know, there's no way I would be able to scale my business to the level I'm at right now without video conferencing. And I just tell them, I said, you know, when I was on a 100-seat webinar platform, I was paying $55 a month. And when I saw how much it was going to cost for me to go above 100 people and really scale up, the 500-seat webinar was several $100s a month. And, you know, that's kind of hard to swallow, especially for somebody getting started. And I say, one of the benefits of this platform is you get access to that 500-seat license for $12.99 a month. I mean, imagine the amount of money that I've saved over the first year just from that. So just the savings alone is a no-brainer. So there I've got two completely different angles of attack, both creating demand and desire for something that they want. They want to scale and they want to be connected without going out and rubbing elbows. That's something I know about most entrepreneurs. They don't like social environments. A lot of them are introverts. They don't like networking. They don't like talking to people. They like to talk to one person that is interested in what they've got, but they don't like to go out and press the flesh. So again, knowing my avatar, creating the messaging, everything becomes easy. So it all rolls back to it every time.
Awesome.
So
thank you.
I like that, pressing the flesh. Sounds good.
yeah, that's an old sales term. You know, you got to get out and press the flesh if you want to grow your business. And most entrepreneurs and business guys hate that. They will hire salespeople to go and do that because they don't want to do it themselves. So it's a pain point. So they want the outcome. They don't want to do the heavy lifting. So, all right, guys, I got to get ready for another, I'm going to do a Q&A on our SitePop platform here in about a half hour. So I got to get ready for that. But we will talk to you all next week.
Thank you, John.
Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.